marvelous paragons of masculinity, really. Simon Hunter, professional bettor, Sean Corner, director of analytics at Action Network, and Chris Raybon, just an all-around great dude. Gentlemen, we are here to talk about the 2021 NFL schedule release. It came out today. It was leaked early, which was cool. It gave us a chance to jump on some of the early lines, and books posted lines right away, which is great. So here we are, and we have a full week one slate to talk about. And let's start with the first game on Thursday Night Football. My Dallas Cowboys, sadly, going to Tampa Bay to play the championship-winning Buccaneers. The Cowboys, 6.5-point underdogs. Simon, my question, I know I'm going to be betting against the Cowboys in this game. My question is, should I jump on this line now, or is it going to move at some point? But what are you doing? What thoughts do you have with this game?
I would say if you're going to fade the Cowboys, now would be the time. I could definitely see that line getting up there. But for me, my first play, under. I got a Cowboys. Who knows what we can say about Dak, but Dak's coming off major surgery, and it's his first game back. And we have Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, which we've seen it. Tom Brady treats September like preseason. So I just could see a team with a lot of emotion, a lot of things going through their head, especially, getting their Super Bowl rings. So for me, the play in this game is easily the under. It's already gone down half a point. It opened at 52.5. It's down to 52.
Yeah, so 52, still, one of the highest over-unders on the slate. Sean, do you have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think if you want to fade the Cowboys, I would take it now while it's 6.5. I could see this moving to 7, even 7.5. I think the public perception is going to be all over the Bucs entering the season. I mean, the storyline is they were obviously Super Bowl champs, but they returned all 22 starters. But, the Cowboys, they had bad luck last year when it came to Dak Prescott's injury, the offensive line injuries. So they had the 5th worst adjusted games lost according to Football Outsiders. So they're a team I kind of want to buy low on. Whereas, the Bucs, they had the best overall grade, according to adjusted games lost. So they're going to run into some bad luck this year. I just think the public perception of these two teams are skewed. So I'm actually waiting for it to go up to 7.5, and then I'll probably take Dallas here.
Okay, Raybon, thoughts on this game?
So for me, I would probably fade the Cowboys too. I would do it sooner than later. And you look at Mike McCarthy, he has been 7-2 against the spread in week one when a favorite, but just 1-4 as an underdog. So I don't really trust him, especially against this Bucs team that has a lot of continuity to get this team ready. I think the defense is still going to be an issue. They got a lot of new pieces. Obviously, it's going to be Dak's first game back. So I just don't know that we see peak Cowboys in week one.
And look, as bad as that defense was last year, bringing in Dan Quinn doesn't mean that defense will be any better this year.
Right.
It might actually be worse. They literally might have brought in the one defensive coordinator who can make that unit worse. So that's where I am, early lean, thinking about this Cowboys-Buccaneers game. Let's go to the next game on the board. Cardinals at the Titans. Titans favored by 2.5, a 51.5 point over-under. Simon, do you have any thoughts on this game?
No, I'm going to wait on it. There's just too much unknown with both teams for me to touch it right now.
Yeah, and honestly, and for this show, if we don't have anything to say about some of these games, we're just going to go through them quickly. Sean, do you have anything to say about this Titans game hosting the Cardinals?
It's a close one. I think, taking the Cardinals +3 makes sense here. I think the Titans offense is going to take a step back this year without Jonnu Smith and Corey Davis. If I were to lean anything, it'd be taking the points right now while we have the key number.
Okay. Raybon, what are your thoughts here? And Sean, I should say, I'm seeing 2.5 across the board here when I'm looking. And so maybe it opened
already done that down.
Maybe it opened at 3. Hopefully, if you're looking to bet the Cardinals, you grabbed it at 3 because it's been bet down to 2.5. Raybon, do you have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Sean here. Look at these teams, and they had a very similar kind of power rating. They're very similar in point differential. And I think the Titans are going to take a step back, not just without Corey Davis and Jonnu and all those guys, but Arthur Smith, their offensive coordinator, he was a big part of turning Ryan Tannehill around, of the play action success. So I think this Cardinal team has been sneaky good. Their defense has been sneaky good. Even last year they were top 10. So yeah, I take the points with the Cards.
Okay, let's move along to the Seahawks at the Colts. I already bet this one at Seahawks plus 2.5, but it looks like it's around 2.5 across the industry. So this line might be on the move. 52.5 point over under. Simon, do you have any thoughts on this game? Like, I'll just say, betting on Russell Wilson as an underdog, like, I love being able to do that, especially if I get to bet against Carson Wentz in his first start with the new team, no continuity with the receivers. To me, it just feels like a smash. But, of course, I'm also a notorious donkey. Simon, what do you think?
Exactly my thoughts. This is, like, I'm just going to run a lot of the numbers as we get closer to the season here. But just, like, first glance at this number, I think to myself, why would you not take Russell Wilson? And going against Carson Wentz, like you just said, going into a new offense, a whole new situation, I just think it's a funky number. I had this at a pick, and it opened at 2.5. I jumped right on the Seahawks when this opened.
Yeah, Sean, do you have thoughts on this? And I'll just say, I'm with Simon. I thought this would be around a pick. Where do you have it?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I had this, Colts minus 1.5. So I was, surprised to see them up to 2.5. I mean, obviously you're betting on Russell Wilson here. I think the new OC, Shane Waldron, he's coming from the Rams. So I think he'll have a creative offense for Russell Wilson, give him more control at the line of scrimmage. I'm hoping they let Russ cook the entire season. So I think out of the gate, I'd want to back the Seahawks here.
Yeah, I'll just say the early betting percentages, 67% of the bets, 86% of the money. So it's skewing towards the Colts, which isn't great. But I'll just say, like, it's early. Like, these numbers will change a lot. Raybon, do you have thoughts on this game?
Yeah, this is a Seahawks bet for me. Let's look at some history. Frank Reich, great coach for the Indianapolis Colts, obviously, but not so much in week one. You go back to 2018, his first year with the team. They were favored against the Cincinnati Bengals. They lose 34-23. Then they go play the Chargers 2 years ago. They lose in overtime 30-24. And then last year, they're more than a touchdown favorite against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Boom, Jaguars upset them, only win of the season for the Jags. Colts are not a team that I trust in week one. Carson Wentz, not a quarterback that I trust, period. And let's remember, it's not just about Russell Wilson for the Seahawks, letting him cook, whatever not. Obviously, that's going to be there. But this defense was one of the better defenses in the league over the second half of the season. They gave up 23-21, 17-17, 3-15-9, and 23 points over their last 8. So nothing more than 23 over that stretch. So I think this Seahawks team is a little bit underrated in the market right now.
All right, the next game we have, Chargers at the Washington Footballers. Chargers favored by 1.5 and a 44.5, 45 point over under. I mean, interesting line here. Chargers, I think they did well in the draft, but it's not to say they should be favored on the road. The football team, they have a tough defense, and it might be even better this year. Simon, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, one of the few ones that right away I played. I got them at even money pretty much on the money line to take Washington at home here. And my whole thought was, people are like everyone else here, I'm sure we all have future bets on the Chargers to win the Super Bowl. I feel like everyone has one in their back pocket. And it's just one of those where the public's going to come in on, the offensive rookie of the year. And I'll just sit back and I'll take the veteran quarterback with the veteran head coach against the second-year QB and a first-year head coach making, his first start on the road. So I just think all the signs point to taking the defense with the veteran quarterback here. So I do like Washington in this spot.
Sean, where are you?
Yeah, I was bummed out these two teams play each other because I'm bullish on both of them. But, the Chargers get Derwin James healthy to start the year, hopefully. New head coach Brandon Staley should improve their in-game management that has haunted the Chargers the past few seasons with Anthony Lynn. So I think that should help. And, they addressed the offensive line. I thought they had a really good offseason, as did the football team. But, this offensive line might take a couple of games to gel. And, they're going up against this football team front four out of the gate. So it could be trouble for them. Herbert could be under a ton of pressure. So I do like the football team here. I love, Ryan Fitzpatrick. This is like the 15th year in a row he's starting for a new team. So he should hit the ground running. He's used to this. So I love taking the football team here at +1.
Raybon, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this was the first bet I made. This is my favorite bet of all the opening lines so far. I think it's a little bit ahead of the Seahawks because I don't think the right team is favored in this spot. I think Washington should be the favorite. You look at Ryan Fitzpatrick last year. He had the best QBR of his career, 76.9. He did that with a Miami O-line that was outside the top 20 in PFF pass block grade. Washington was top 3. It's going to be a better receiving core than he had in Miami too, because he's going to have Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas, McKissick, and Gibson, obviously, but then you had Samuel, Brown in the draft. So I think the offensive situation's improved. And on defense, they were a top 3 defense. And they added to their defense in the draft as well, including a first-round pick. So I really like this Washington team. I think the Chargers, they just lost a lot of talent on defense. Staley, this is going to be his first game. So I just think it'll take a little bit of time. And I don't think this is a good matchup for the Chargers. I think they want to win shootouts. And I don't think that you're going to get in a shootout against Washington.
Yeah, I mean, it's as Raymond said, they lost players in this offseason. Adding Asante Samuel Jr. in the second round was great. I don't know if he's going to be ready to be your number 1 corner in week 1. You're going against YOLO Ryan Fitzpatrick, who just might feel free to air it out against the rookie multiple times. So it could be a very interesting situation to watch. The next game we have up here, honestly, this is I think a pretty disgusting game. We have the Jags at the Texans. The Jags favored by 2. The Jags, who had the number 1 pick in the draft, the worst team in the league last year, favored on the road by 2. It just shows the state of disarray that the Texans are in right now. Of course, we really don't know what's happening with Deshaun Watson, but we kind of know. Like, it's looking increasingly unlikely that he's going to play this year. Simon, how are you approaching this game? Jags favored by 2, a 45.5 point over-under.
If you can see over my shoulder, I got Tim Tebow's book right above my shoulder. So I'll let you know where I'm going. I'm going to take the Jags here because I'm with the people. I can't see Watson playing. It just feels like there's so much going on here. And it's a weird line. I don't know if I would have made it this, but at the same time, you have a team on the up and up with the Jaguars. They have a new regime, the number 1 overall pick, going against a Houston team that no one likes. So, of course, I know when the season gets here, I'll probably be on Houston. But right now, as we sit here in May, if you're going to bet money, please put it on the Jaguars.
I mean, I can't. I can't do it. They signed Tim Tebow. I just can't do it. Sean, and by the way, Tim Tebow, goal line touchdown. Like that guy's going. If he makes the team, it's going to be a nuisance. Sean, where are you on this game?
Yeah, I want nothing to do with this, to be honest. I'm excited to watch Trevor Lawrence's debut. That's about all I have to say about this. But yeah, it's hard to tell, what's up with Deshaun Watson. I was joking with Raybon. This will probably be the 30 in a row. We're talking about Tyrod Taylor as a good DFS play for week 1 and then never play him ever again. But yeah, I don't want to bet this. This is more of just an exciting game to watch for Trevor Lawrence's debut.
Yeah, Raybon, where are you?
Yeah, hopefully the Texans medical staff doesn't stab Tyrod Taylor in the ribs or whatever the heck happened to him last year. But I don't have enough information to make a confident bet on a side in this game, but I would lean under the 45.5 total. I mean, what are we really talking about here? A quarterback in his first start. The Jaguars got a whole bunch of running backs. Their receiving core is okay. And then the Texans, we don't expect them to score much. I think looking at their terrible team, I still think the Texans defense will be better than their offense. So I would lean under. Side for now, I'm staying away. I got to dig a lot deeper, and that still might not have a confident pick on that.
All right, yeah, Raybon, I like that. I'm agreeing with you there because, there's a chance that Davis Mills actually ends up starting in week 1 for the Texans. We could have 2 rookie quarterbacks going against each other in week 1. All right, this next game, we have Jets at the Panthers. Panthers favored by 4.5, a 43.5 point over-under. I believe that is the low mark on the slate. If not the low mark, one of the lowest marks on the slate. Simon, what are your thoughts here with the Jets at the Panthers?
And I made a rookie mistake. I got the worst of the number here. I took Carolina because I thought this number was going to go up, but it's actually gone down. So some pros have come in on the other side. But I just look at another, again, situational game. We have a rookie QB, a rookie head coach making their first start together on the road against, I mean, people, you can say what you want about Sam Darnold. I think now that he's in this situation, I think it's good. I think he's going to shine. Not that he's going to have a MVP type of season, but I just think the weapons around him with that O-line, I really like this matchup for him. So for me right now, I'm betting this Carolina. It's down to -4. So if people like it with me, man, to fade the rookie QB on the road in his first start.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, shame on me for not leading with the headline. Revenge game for Sam Darnold in his first game with the Panthers going against the Jets. This is a great move by the schedule makers to put this in week 1. Absolutely love it that Darnold is going against his former team in his first game and with a new team. Sean, how are you? I mean, and I'll say I'm with Simon. I love the Panthers on this side of it. Sean, where are you?
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that, but I'm not in love with it enough to bet it. But yeah, thank you, schedule makers, for giving us Sam Darnold and Robbie Anderson revenge game here. It's going to be exciting to watch, and we get Christian McCaffrey back 100% hopefully to start. So this will be a fun game to watch, but I'm not going to bet it until I dig into it a little bit more.
Raymond, you're shaking your head. It seems like you like the Jets here.
Yeah, well, the Jets are going to have the better quarterback.
Whoa!
From week 1.
Whoa!
Let's stop being silly with this Sam Darnold. Let's stop it. Like, come on, man. Like, the Panthers tried this last year with Teddy Bridgewater. He was supposed to be the savior, a mediocre quarterback who, by the way, was better than Darnold, or at least perceived as such, heading into last year. He goes, 4-11 as a starter, and they give up on him for Sam Darnold. They didn't get better on offense aside from McCaffrey coming back. Okay, I give you that. But this was a losing team the past few years with McCaffrey. Like, they were one of the worst teams in the National Football League. 2 different coaches, different quarterbacks. The Jets defense, you look at their defensive roster. Remember, they got Robert Saleh from San Francisco. The defensive roster is pretty strong. And by the way, a bunch of these guys practice against Sam Darnold every week. He's not going to have confidence against these guys. Like, this is an upset pick for me. Like, I'm either staying away or I'm betting the Jets. No way I'm touching the Panthers. Unless they get Aaron Rodgers, which is the only reason I'd say, like, don't go. I would be a lot more bullish on the Jets, but, like, now there's rumors that the Panthers might get Aaron Rodgers, which would just obviously throw everything off, and it would be, like, a double-digit spread. So that's the only reason I'm not like, let's go out and bet the Jets, but I'm not touching the Panthers.
Okay. So interesting that the three of us disagree with you, Raybon. I will be curious to see how this works out in week 1. All right, next game we have here, Steelers at the Bills. This is 6. There is still a 6.5 out there across. Let me see at FanDuel. You can still bet this at 6.5. 50.5 is the over under. I jumped on this one at 6.5 with the Steelers. This one just seemed, a little too good to be true. Josh Allen as a home favorite is very mediocre against the spread, and Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger as underdogs tend to shine in that situation. I think that this should be closer to 3 than 6. So I'm definitely on this game. Simon, where are you?
Yeah, right there with you. It feels like this line's been bumped up 3.5, 2.5 points simply because they played in the AFC Championship game. So this is one of those where the public's last thing they remember is Pittsburgh losing at home to the Browns in the playoffs. And they remember the Bills playing all the way into the AFC Championship game. So I think these are the times you take Pittsburgh. They're all healthy. They're going to be healthy to start the season. You definitely have to take that +6 if you're going to bet this game.
Raybon, I'm going to kick it to you here because you have this look on your face like, no, like you guys are wrong.
Oh, man. Mike Tomlin is an underdog, right? Usually it's, he's a rah-rah coach. The Steelers have not been underdogs often throughout his career. So I went and looked up some data in our Action Labs database. Mike Tomlin is 35-14-1 against the spread as an underdog from week 3 on. In week 1 and 2, he's 3-5. They're 5-9 on the money line as an underdog in September. So the market's generally right about this team, early in the season. I don't just remember Pittsburgh having that disaster against the Browns. That's the issue. If it was just okay, they didn't come to play in a playoff game, fine. But a couple weeks before that, they lose 27-17 to the Bengals without Joe Burrow. And then the week before that, in December, so we're talking about, not 4 regular season games ago for the Steelers in Buffalo, they get waxed 26-15. And I made the mistake of taking the Steelers in that game. So I remember it very well. I trust Sean McDermott. I trust the Buffalo talent. What I don't trust is another offseason for Ben Roethlisberger. I think it's more likely he gets worse than better. I know he's a year removed from whatever not Tommy John surgery he had, but he's also a year older, and it just didn't look right. The defense didn't get better. I don't trust this Steelers team. So for me, I don't like taking 6.5 point favorites. So I would say, for me, it's a lean on Buffalo, but I'm not betting Pittsburgh.
Sean, do you have thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I thought the line was a bit too high when it came out. I had this closer to 5. And, I love the Bills. I think they're one of the best coach teams, one of the best run teams, one of the best rosters. But I still like the Steelers here. As Raybon mentioned, Tallman's pretty good as an underdog. And, the public perception of the Steelers seems a bit lower than it should be. Were they as good as their 12-4 record last year? Of course not. But they're still an above-average team. And when you look at their win total, it's 8.5, which seems low, but they have the most brutal schedule. They have the hardest strength of schedule in my ranking. So, I think that they could be like more of a 10-win team, but because of their schedule, their win total is so low. But yeah, Raybon, I don't think that Big Ben's going to get better this year, but last year he was plagued with drops. Especially Deontay Johnson let him down a ton. Their 9.1% drop rate was second most in the league. So I think if just the receivers regress in the positive direction when it comes to his drops, I think he's going to look a lot better, even though he might not himself get better. So I think he should bounce back this year. I love taking him week 1 here.
All right, let's talk about this next game. Vikings at Bengals. Vikings favored by 3.5 on the road. A 47.5, 48 point over under. Simon, do you have thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'll be on Minnesota most likely once it gets around to it. If it gets down to 2.5, 3, I'd probably take that number. It's just simply that I just don't think Joe Burrow is gonna be right away. He's got a lot of stuff going on, coming off such major knee surgery. So it's one of those where I'm gonna bank on Minnesota just being ready to come into the season. They had such an awful year last year, and they were plagued with injuries and a terrible defense and a lot of guys coming in and out on their offensive line. I could just see this Minnesota team bouncing back this season. So I do like this number right now for them.
Yeah, I really don't have an opinion on this game either way. I find both of these teams just a little bit repugnant. Sean, do you have thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think this is basically betting if Joe Burrow will play week 1. I think if he's active, this is going to drop down closer to 2.5. So I think they're boosting it just a little bit because, there is some uncertainty. Certainly he might not be 100%. So I like taking them plus 3.5 here. And then, if he were to be out, this line could go up to, 5.5, 6. So I think this is just betting on will Joe Burrow play week 1. So I think right now taking the plus 3.5, the key number, is the way to go.
Raymond, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, to me, I'm probably a little bit more toward Minnesota as well because I think there's just a bigger risk with Burrow either not playing or not being ready. Whereas even if Burrow was 100%, this, I could still see Minnesota. I would still have Minnesota winning this game. So that -3 for Minnesota, even though they're on the road, I wouldn't really have a problem with it, even if Burrow played. And so that's what kind of leads me to Minnesota. But I don't see a ton of value on either side other than you're getting kind of that insurance. But I would only bet Minnesota if it got down to 3 or 2.5. I wouldn't bet it at 3.5. It's kind of a stay away for me at that number.
Raymond, you talked me into it there. I see your side of it. And you can get right now a rogue 3 for the Vikings at PointsBet. So if you agree with what Raybon said there, agree with what Simon said, you can get that now at PointsBet. The next game that I'm seeing here, Eagles at Falcons. Falcons favored by 3.5 across the board. A 46.5, 47 point over under. Simon, you are a diehard Falcons fan. You are representing with the old school sweatshirt right there. I'm assuming that 3.5 just feels like a gift, considering that Jalen Hurts is basically a lock for MVP this year. What are your thoughts on this week 1 line?
I think the real gift is that over under 46.5. This is, I feel like anyone that loves fantasy, everyone's going to have some type of players in this game. I mean, these two teams, a lot of people have high hopes. Like the Eagles feel like that team that everyone's going to have late round fillers on their team of just these wide receivers and all these different players from the Eagles. And I love this team to score. I still think our defense is going to kind of be suspect, and Atlanta has not done a single thing to really improve that defense, but their offense has just gone up another level, adding Pitts. So for me, the way it stands right now, I had this graded out at 51, the over-under, so I think I'm getting a ton of value right now. It's sitting at 46.5, 47.
Yeah, I like that. This does feel like a low number here. Sean, where are you?
Yeah, I like the over here too. I have this projected out at 48.5. And this is all key number range when it comes to total. So if you want the over, take it now. It's definitely going to go up. But I'm just excited to see this Falcons offense with Julio Jones, hopefully healthy, Calvin Ridley, and Kyle Pitts. So, yeah, and then Jalen Hurts is going to be pretty good in fantasy. So this is going to be a good DFS game for sure. And we're going to see Devonta Smith. So, this is going to be a great game in terms of fantasy. But right now, I think I would lean, Falcons -3 if it gets there. But at 3.5, I'm staying away.
Raybon.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on the total. I love the over. I think both these teams are going to be able to score. Spread, I would lean Eagles. I think these two teams are pretty evenly matched, and that's simply because the Eagles just had such terrible injury luck last year. I mean, it was just brutal for them. But you look at their roster, and Jalen Hurts, if he just plays decently, like not even taking a step forward, but kind of plays like he did last year, I think this is an even matchup where, I think the Eagles are better on defense. I think the Falcons are better on offense, but I don't think it's that significant to the point where I'm betting on a Falcons team to win by more than a field goal. Because even at 3, they have to, you're pushing. If they win at 3, they need to win by more than a field goal. For me, this is a kind of a toss-up game. So, and we just don't know enough, I think, at this point to really be that confident. So I would go with the dog here.
All right, the next game that we have here, 49ers at the Lions. 49ers favored by 7.5. I believe that is the largest spread that we have on the slate for week 1. A 45.5, 46-point over-under. I mean, fish that I am, I still think that the 49ers should be favored by more. Like, I just, I know I'm stepping into a trap here, but the Lions, they just feel like they are going to be so bad this year that whether it's Jimmy Garoppolo or whether it's Trey Lance starting in week 1, I almost don't think it matters. I just think the Lions are going to be awful. Simon, you are the professional bettor. What do you think in this situation?
And this is why, my friends, you take the Lions money line. Plus 300. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. The same thing with the Jags last year. The Jags are awful. They had no reason in any world to beat the Colts the opening week. But they did. You know why? Because it's week 1. And you bank on these things where 49ers are going to have a lot of drama. They might try to play it cool that like Jimmy's like reached out to Trey. There's going to be drama heading into the season, and they have a ton of hype. People really are high on the 49ers. Everyone hates the Lions. Everyone thinks the Lions are tanking. No one wants to bet them. It's going to be me and 5 other guys, and that's why we're going to cover that 7.5. So I love the 7.5. Take the 7 and take the money line because I just think this is one of these games Detroit's going to be able to pull out.
Sean, are you going to be one of those 5 guys betting on the Lions along with Simon?
Yeah, it's probably going to take me 4 months to get to that point, but I'll probably get there. I'm definitely not taking the 49ers at -7.5. I think, like you said, this could get ugly with Jimmy G. Like he could get traded away or something. We could see Trey Lance starting week 1. And in that case, I think I'd lower the 49ers power rating a bit. I think it's going to take them a few games to get up to speed with the NFL. So, I'm going to be very cautious about this game. But in the end, I really do think I'll end up on the Lions.
Raybon, where are you on this?
Yeah, the Lions are definitely the end. That's for sure. But I agree. You can't bet the 49ers at this number, especially when they could be starting a rookie quarterback. I mean, the Lions just have so many holes on their roster that, you kind of look at the number and you expect it to be more. But let's remember, the 49ers were favored by a similar number coming off their Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs a couple years ago, 6.5 against the Cardinals. And it was higher than that, I believe, when at the opener, and it came down. And lo and behold, the Cardinals end up winning that game outright. So, yeah, I'm with Simon. I think, you can get a tiny bit of Lions money line. If you have to bet this, you have to go Lions. I would not touch the Niners at this number. And I could see it getting even bigger because once, the rest of the public starts tuning in and remembering that the Lions have Jared Goff and nobody, which is just nobody times nobody, it's going to be ugly. But it's hard. Salah's gone for San Francisco. There's some changes. There could be one at quarterback. It's a trap to bet the favorite at this number. Underdogs of 6.5 or more in week 1, 40-26 since 2003, according to our Action Labs data.
Yeah, I mean, I know you guys are right, but you feel wrong. I mean, I'm not going to bet it. Like, I haven't bet it. I know enough to know that I should not bet this. But, like, it would not be surprising to see the 49ers win by 14. And it's like, yep, the Lions are as bad as we thought they were going to be.
It would not be surprising to see, like, our week 1 live show, you taking the 49ers, like, minus 14.5.
No, that will not. That will not. That will not happen.
That was the Kendall Hinton game. We gotta give Freeman credit for that one. That was the Kendall Hinton game that he did that.
Yeah.
Right. Take the minus 14.5.
I'm not even mad at you for that, Freeman. That was sharp.
Yeah.
This one. Oof.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not touching it, but I want to.
As you say now, we'll see.
Yeah. All right, the next game that we have here, we have the Browns at the Chiefs. Browns are 5.5-point underdogs, and then a 53-point over-under, one of the highest totals on the slate, if not the highest total. Simon, what are your thoughts here? I mean, the Browns are a popular team in the futures market heading into this season. I'm assuming there are going to be a lot of people on them.
Yeah, I'm shocked. First glance when this came out, I was like, I'm all over the Browns. And then when I ran the numbers, it's apparently there's value here on the Chiefs. And I had to look some stuff up. And Mahomes is unreal in September. He is 10-0. All he does is throw touchdowns, doesn't throw interceptions. And if this was week 7 or 8, I'd be on the Browns. But it just seems like the more I looked at the Browns' history, they're not good to start the season. They have a lot of weird fluky blowout losses week 1. And Mahomes' career, he is just automatic in September. So I'm going to be on the -6. I had this grade out at -7. So the value is for me on the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking here in the Bet Labs database. I believe that there are some trends on Andy Reid in week 1. 6-2 against the spread in week 1. In Kansas City. I mean, I can see the September thing. Sean, where are you on KC hosting the Browns?
Yeah, so I'm in line with the market here. I had KC -6, but I do like the Chiefs in this spot. I'm very bullish on the Browns this year, but I tend to like them more when they're favorites as opposed to underdogs like this against an offense like the Chiefs. I mean, they did a really good job addressing this defense. And, they still have one of the best offensive lines in the game, the best running back duo in the game. So if they get a lead, they can keep it. But when it comes to facing the Chiefs, that doesn't matter. They're going to have to keep up with Patrick Mahomes. So, it's going to put more on Baker Mayfield's plate. And I don't like the Browns in those situations. So I think I'm going to be on the Chiefs -6 here.
All right, Raybon, where are you?
This is a stay away for me for now because I think the line is pretty accurate. This Browns team is just, I mean, on paper, they're just so good. I don't know if we can even compare even last year's Browns because now the defense and, the secondary and the things that we had issue with the Browns last year. And the reason, they were they could handle business when they needed to, but I think they had like a even point differential. They struggled in some key spots. They struggled against the Chiefs in the postseason, but I just think this is an all new Browns team. I don't know if the Chiefs O-line, the new O-line gels by week 1. And we saw what happened when their O-line struggled in the Super Bowl. And, is this receiving core going to be okay with, Watkins gone or a little thin? I don't want to take the Chiefs here. If I had to, I would take the Browns because This is a game I think the Browns could win, to be honest, but hard to bet against Reed and Mahomes. They are undefeated against the spread in 3 tries in week 1. So I'd lean Browns, but stay away.
All right, and always worth mentioning, even if you're not going to bet it, the Andy Reid Arrowhead under. This is I believe, the highest total on the slate, and in the Andy Reid era, the Arrowhead under is 41, 29, and 1, the most profitable under across the league in that time. Okay, the next game that we have here, Broncos at Giants. Broncos favored by 1.5, a 42.5 point over under. Definitely one of the lowest over-unders on the slate. Simon, where are you on this game?
Yeah, if you haven't figured it out yet, I truly enjoy being miserable. These are 2 teams I have Super Bowl futures on who have 0% chance of ever cashing. First, when I saw this game, I leaned towards the Giants on the spread, but I just looked like the under. I think this is one of these games where a lot of talent on Denver's side, on both sides, but I just can't see Locke putting up points, and I just don't believe in Daniel Jones. So for me, the play in this game would just be the under, and I really probably won't end up on a side.
Yeah, this Broncos defense could be good, and anytime you can bet against Jason Garrett coordinating an offense with success, I feel like you have to do that. Corner, where are you on this game?
So I think this game's incredible because I think Aaron Rodgers is having a huge impact on this line, actually. If he ends up in Denver, they'll probably be -3, -3.5 here. If this is Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock, they're going to be 2.5 point underdogs here. So, I have about a 33% chance Aaron Rodgers starting for the Broncos here. So I have it around a pick 'em. So I think the market's kind of doing the same math as me. So this is just, if you think Aaron Rodgers is going to start for the Broncos, take him here. If you don't, bet against him. I think Aaron Rodgers is impacting this line a ton. So, this is interesting to me from just odds making perspective. It's just a guy that he's not even on the team is impacting a game like this.
Rayvon, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, that's, I think, first of all, I agree with Simon. I think the under is the play in this game. This Broncos defense is just legit. They kind of got their O-line knocked down a little bit when Jawan James got hurt again. You have still a greater than not chance that it's not Aaron Rodgers. Sean's projecting about 33%. So, and then the Giants were a team, they were one of the best under teams in the league last year. They, under Joe Judge, they really good game plans. The under hit in 13 of their 16 games for the Giants a year ago. So I would lean to the under on this one. And yeah, I think right now the value is on betting the Giants because again, Sean's projecting about 33%. We're talking about what a median line here should be, and it should be the Giants favored at home against this Bronco team. And so unless Aaron Rodgers chance, if you think it's 50% or better, then you kind of take the line for what it is. But if you think it's less than that, then there's value on the Giants. So I would bet the Giants here now and take my chances.
All right, and that, Rayvon, I agree with you. That makes sense. 33%, even that feels a little bit aggressive. And I mean, Sean, I'm never one to question your odds making capabilities, but 33%, that feels very aggressive for
it's
a
obviously
guy
a complete guess at this point.
Yeah. So it feels aggressive. If I had to take a side here, I would take the Giants. I'm with Simon, with Rayvon here. The under does feel like the play here. Again, 2 really good defenses going against each other and 2 offenses that I really don't have much faith in. We talked about Aaron Rodgers. This next game here, Packers at Saints. The Packers are 2.5 point underdogs. A 50.5 point over under is the line that I am seeing here at, I believe, BetMGM. That is the only place where I see an over under right now. 2.5 is the line that I'm seeing Packers underdogs on the road. I got to say, I think Aaron Rodgers has very little leverage. I think he's likelier than not to be playing in this game. And if that's the case, I want to bet as much, not as much as I can, but I want to bet a lot on the Packers as underdogs going against a Saints team in the first game in the post-Drew Brees era, even though the Packers are on the road. Simon, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'm right there with you about the Rodgers stuff. I've been fading the noise now for over a week where the Chargers went all the way up to 40-1 simply because people thought he was going to Denver, and it boosted Denver's odds way up for the Super Bowl. And it's the same thing happened with Green Bay. Green Bay Super Bowl odds dropped. Their divisional odds dropped. I've jumped on all of that stuff because he has no leverage, and all the money is all like the way the money works out. I just can't see Green Bay taking a huge L, and it's apparent they don't believe in Jordan Love, or else they would have been not having a stronger poker face, but they would have done more about all of this. And instead, it seems like they don't have faith just to start this kid. So I really do like the value on Green Bay. The plus 2.5 I took the money line as well. And this is all the simple fact that I do believe he'll be back. A lot of people, I think the media, they're going to talk about it all offseason because it's something good to talk about. But it's one of those, it's just there is no situation where he can leave right now. There's nothing a team can give up that equal the value that they're going to be sitting on with Green Bay because it's literally giving away the MVP of the league. I just can't see them doing it.
Sean, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, where you stand on this is where you bet. So, if Aaron Rodgers plays, the Packers will be about -2. And if he's traded away or retires or sits out, they'll probably jump up to, +5, +6. So, I'm not really taking a stand either way. I know my percentage that he goes to the Broncos seems pretty crazy. I'm just taking the market odds on it. But if you think he stays in Green Bay and he plays here, absolutely lock it in now if you can get it, because they will absolutely be favored come week 1.
Yeah. Rayvon, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is a tough one for me because I think I'm a little higher on the Saints than most, especially if they start Taysom Hill, which may sound crazy, but I think the Saints will not suffer much drop-off at all. Just because Drew Brees and the way he was playing, and the fact that Michael Thomas was hurt for half the year, I don't think there's going to be as steep of a drop off as a lot of people think. So I kind of would have, I wouldn't have a problem even if Rodgers was in there taking the Saints at -2, anything under 3. So I would lean Saints here, but I do agree that the market is not going to price it that way. The market is going to, as Sean alluded to, is going to price the Packers as a favorite. So it's kind of a situation where it just depends on how you feel about the two teams. Like for me, it's more of a stay away because I'm not as high on the Packers, but I'm also higher on the Saints. And then on the flip side, if you like the Packers, you're getting them at a really good number right now.
All right, so the next game we have here, Dolphins at the Patriots. The Dolphins anywhere from 1.5-point underdogs at FanDuel to 2.5-point underdogs at DraftKings, a 45.5-point over-under. This one is intriguing to me because we're really not sure exactly who's going to be starting in week 1. Is it Cam Newton? Is it Mac Jones? And Brian Flores, he's running a pretty good team there in Miami with the Dolphins, who I think I'm really intrigued by what they're going to do this year. Like, it seems like they've really been building their team in the right way. And whether it's this year or whether it's next year, I think they have a pretty good future. Simon, what are your thoughts on the Dolphins for week 1?
Yep, another boring underplay by Simon. I like the unders, man. It's one of those where I like Miami's defense, and New England just added all these guys back to this defense, and they've signed guys at free agency. So with all the uncertainty, I don't know if it's gonna be Mac Jones and Cam. I'm gonna lean towards the under here for this early play, just because I don't want to take either side yet until I know what quarterbacks are starting.
Sean, do you have any thoughts on this game?
I kind of like the Pats -1.5 here. I would love for this to be a showdown between the former Alabama QBs, Tua and Mac Jones, but I know we're going to get Cam Newton. But this offense should be better this year, even though I didn't agree with most of their moves. They did inject a lot of talent. The 2020 season, they were really decimated by the opt-outs. So they had the second worst adjusted games luck last year. So I think the Pats bounce back this year, and I love taking them as a slight favorite here at -1.5.
All right, Raybon, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like the Pats in this spot too. I do like the under as well. So Pats in the under for me. Belichick, he has covered the spread 4 of his last 5 in week 1, 8-4 in his last 12. And this was the matchup in week 1 last year. Patriots were 7.5-point favorites with Cam Newton starting, and they covered that number. It was a close call, but I think this Patriots defense is so good that like even all the quarterbacks kind of cancel each other out for me. But for New England, they're good. Each one there would be a different reason why I think there would be a positive and a negative. And on the other hand, Miami doesn't really have. I mean, they have Brissett to bail out Tua instead of Fitzpatrick, which probably a downgrade. So all things considered, I just think this Patriots defense against a coach that Belichick knows, against a coach that Belichick has, played well against. His teams have played well against. I think I like the Patriots at the short number. And yeah, I don't see a ton of points in this game. I see Miami's defense getting better, but I don't think, what they did on offense is going to really pay off all at once, especially not against this Pats D.
Yeah, and it is worth keeping in mind that Will Fuller will be suspended for the first game of the season here, so his services will not be available. All right, the Sunday night football game for week 1, we have the Bears at the Rams. Rams favored by 7, a 45.5 over-under across the market. Simon, the thoughts here on, there's some uncertainty with the Bears. Is it going to be Andy Dalton? Is it Justin Fields starting in week 1? And then, of course, you have Matthew Stafford making his Rams debut. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, another interesting matchup here where we simply don't know the quarterbacks, but at the same time, it's not great Fields making his first start against the team that was, top 3 defense last season. So just early lean here. I'm definitely going to be on the under in this game because it's a primetime game. People are going to be betting this game up by the time it gets there. So I'm just going to wait because I could see it get up to 47-48 by kickoff. And I would tell people, I guess, to take the -7, but I'd wait and hopefully get a better number because I don't love that it's at 7. I don't think that's a great number taking the Rams. But for me, I just can't take Andy Dalton on the road, and I can't take Justin Fields, the rookie quarterback, on the road. So for me, it's either the Rams or nothing.
Sean, where are you?
Yeah, I'm staying away from the spread, but I do like the under at 45.5. I would be ecstatic if it goes up to 47. I just don't see that happening. It's already down to 45 in most places. And, I think if you can get 45.5 now, you lock it in. But like Simon said, if it goes up to 47, I'll be making a pretty big bet on that under because I think this will be a defensive matchup. Stafford, it'll be his first start in the new offense. Whether it's Andy Dalton or Justin Fields, it'll be their first start in this offense. So I think this will be a defensive matchup. So love the under here.
Yeah, I'm not seeing 45.5 anywhere right now. In fact, I'm seeing a 44. Oh, okay. I'm seeing a 44.5 actually at Bet 365. So who knows? Maybe this number moves down a little bit. Raybon, where are you?
Yeah, the only thing that worries me about the Rams is that you have Stafford against the Bears, and he's only covered in 3 of his last 11 against Chicago, playing in the same division for all those years. But I don't know if this is the same Bears defense that it has been. I think they've been losing some talent, some guys that were good in the past, Jackson, Trevathan. They've taken a step back in recent years. So I don't know if that's a worry. I love the under as well. I pretty much any number, like that's whatever they want to put it at, I'd be betting the under. But as far as the side, I still would lean Rams here, even with the uncertainty around Stafford, because this is week 1. Sean McVay is going to be the best offensive mind that Stafford has been around in his career, arguably. And Sean McVay in week 1, 4-0 against the spread, covering by an average of 12.6 points per game.
Yeah, week 1 is his time. And I love how you say the best offensive mind he's been around, arguably. It's like, no, probably. I mean, unless you want to count like Jim Bob Cooter. But I mean, let's be honest. Like, almost certainly the best offensive mind.
I was rolling them around in my head, and I couldn't quite. I was like, maybe I'm forgetting somebody. I don't want to say something, and somebody come like, no, you forget about that guy. But yeah, pretty much.
All right, so that's the Sunday night football game. The final game we have on the slate, Monday Night Football, Ravens at Raiders. Ravens favored by 4.5, 5 on the road, a 51.5 point over under. I'm excited to see the Ravens run all over these Las Vegas Raiders. Simon, where are you on this game?
Yeah, Ravens are another team where I will take them all the time in the preseason. Every game I'll take their money line in preseason because they just always win the preseason. And then week one, they always win. Harbaugh always has these guys ready week one. It might have been the Browns last year. They blew them out. The year before that, they put up like 50 on Miami. They're just one of these teams I love taking week one in Baltimore. They just always seem like they come ready to blow teams out week one. So for me, I know it's tough to hear for the Vegas fans because it's the home opener. All the fans are going to be there, and it's going to be going crazy. But I just think too much firepower on the Ravens, and Oakland will not be able to keep up.
Yeah, Simon, to your point, the Ravens in the preseason absolutely love it. Against the spread, they were 33-15-1 in the preseason. It's like Harbaugh just like, no matter what the competition is, he just has his team ready to go. And to your point about week one, John Harbaugh in week one, 10-3 against the spread in his tenure with Baltimore. Sean, where are you on this game?
So, when this line was posted, Ravens -6, I was thinking, oh God, I have to back the Raiders, don't I? Because I had this projected at 4.5, but thankfully it was bet down to 4.5 and I don't need to do anything. I did not want to back the Raiders here. I hate betting against Lamar Jackson against poor defenses. So, I was surprised to see the sharp action lower the line, to be honest. But yeah, I think 4.5 is a good number, and I'll probably stay away from this.
Raybon, where are you?
Ravens. Like this is easy Ravens for me. Not only is John Harbaugh 10-3 against the spread in week ones, he's 10-3 against the spread, the most profitable coach in week one in our Action Labs database. In week one, he covers the spread on average by 12.9 points per game. Now, John Gruden has won the last two against the spread in week one, but that's because they gave him cake matchups. They gave him Denver, and then they give him Carolina last year. So it's like, now you're giving them the Ravens. These are the big boys. This is what they do. This is all offseason to prepare. They get it started early in the party gets started early in the preseason. It keeps going into week one. You cannot back the Raiders right here. And like I honestly think that line of 6 was fair. It's not. I don't think it's sharp money, Sean, coming in on the Raiders. I just think it's Vegas money.
Yes.
Like it's just Vegas money. Like money's money. The book's got to lower the line either way. Money's money, but I don't think it's sharp.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So Raybon, totally agree with you. I think this is going to be wonderful watching what the Ravens do on Monday Night Football. So that is the week one slate. Ran through it quickly, but I'd say in depth here. Now, Sean, you posted a piece at Action Network this morning breaking down the strength of schedule for all 32 teams. You have them ranked 1 through 32. The 49ers at the top at number 1. The Steelers all the way at the bottom at number 32. Give us some high-level thoughts that you have on sort of your process, what went into this, and any takeaways or anything that surprised you when you crunched the numbers and saw the outcome.
Nothing surprised me, but I will say that this assumes Aaron Rodgers is starting week one for the Green Bay Packers. And tomorrow I'm going to do an adjusted strength of schedule that, factors in the implied odds, including my aggressive projection of 33% chance he ends up in Denver. And when that happens, when you factor that in, the Raiders, they go from, I think, the 24th toughest schedule all the way to the toughest. I mean, they will have Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Aaron Rodgers in their division. So that's going to be a nightmare for Raiders fans. So that's the high-level takeaway, is just how big of an impact this Aaron Rodgers just uncertainty has with everything, including strength of schedule. So just the caveat is this is assuming he goes to Green Bay, but it looks a whole lot different if he goes to Denver, retires, sits out or anything. So he has a huge impact on my rankings.
All right, so I see the 49ers at the top, number 1, have the easiest strength of schedule. I mean, I got to say, I'm thinking of dynasty rankings. In Superflex, I have Trey Lance now is the 101 instead of Trevor Lawrence. And that's an upside play, but I think he has a chance of starting significant games in year one And if he does, I mean, we're talking about a guy who's got great dual threat capabilities. I mean, he could run all over defenses. And if he has the easiest strength of schedule in the league, I mean, we're talking about a guy who really could win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Simon, I'm curious if you have any thoughts on the 49ers with their easy strength of schedule, or any of these other teams based on what you've seen, given the strength of schedule rankings that Sean has.
Yes, I mean, I love that he does it, but it's like he said, it's so hard. Like you're doing these things because we're trying to project out, and like you do all the numbers and everything like that. But when I look at the strength of schedule, my biggest takeaway is just looking at the divisions, and that Aaron Rodgers move is so huge. I mean, that the North is not good. Like if he leaves that division, they might have worse quarterbacks than NFC East, which right now probably has the worst quarterbacks in football. So it's just interesting how that domino would affect so many of these different schedules. Where I do think the 49ers, you can say they have an easy schedule, but that division's so tough. And I know it's based on who they play out of division, but it's one of those where I look at like teams in the NFC West and I bump them down a couple wins every year just because they're playing each other. And I do think that takes a toll. We saw the 49ers, that team broke down at the end of the year. The Rams, they limped into the playoffs pretty much with the one-handed Jared Goff. So it's just one of those where like I try to see what divisions are really going to be tough the next year. And I try to not fade those teams, but I try to take a step back and not put as much money into those teams for futures.
All right, Raybon, any thoughts that you have on strength of schedule based on Sean's rankings, or anything that you've noticed while doing your own research?
Well, yeah, I think the thing that we have to point out about these are, and Sean kind of alluded to it, they're so close, even with the like rankings. Like Sean said how one team would go from like first to 24th or something like that, like just based on one quarterback change. So we're still talking about very tiny edges. The thing about the 49ers, I would say though, I don't necessarily know if an easy schedule is good for Trey Lance, in the sense that we expect the defense to be pretty good. So if like for a quarterback, I think they're so close in fantasy scoring after you get past the elite guys at the top, that I think what I'm always looking for is a team with a bad defense who's playing a tough schedule, so they get in these situations where they have to throw the ball all around the yard. Whereas like I think the Niners, if they have an easy schedule, it actually might play the opposite way, where they're just playing ball control. And, Lance, I'm not that he's going to attempt 8 passes, but I mean, we've seen the Niners do something like that. So that is something to keep in mind. But I'm also not, I think the market is kind of overrating the Jags and Colts in particular because of the strength of schedule ratings. And they're exactly right. Like Sean's exactly right. Like they have the easiest schedules. But because of that, I think their win totals are about a half a win to a win too high. The Jags are one of my favorite under bets, and so are the Colts. So I think you're seeing with the divisions, you're going to see that influence other bets. And a lot of times I think there's value because like Simon alluded to, it's just so early and it's so tough to really get a sense of these, and they're so fragile. They can change a lot just by 1 or 2 roster moves, that like I think a lot of the value is look at the bottom. Like there's a few teams to like at that bottom, like Washington. They have a tough schedule, and so they're not getting as much love as they should be. I think the Saints as well. So teams like that, I think that's where you find the value. Don't get caught up in the fact that like, oh, the Jaguars play the Texans twice, and so they have the easiest schedule, because we just talked about it. The Jaguars are like 2-point favorites over the Texans. They could easily lose that game, and then your strength of schedule just thrown into flux. So for the people out there, try to look at these ratings, but actually think about how the market's pricing them in, because they are. And these are the sharpest around. And so that's how the markets are pricing them. And so you're finding value on the teams counterintuitively at the top and at the bottom, and the ones to fade are closer to the top.
Yeah, and just real quick on the 49ers schedule, now that we know the exact order, I think week 7 might make the most sense for Trey Lance. They have a bye week 6, and then week 7 they play Sunday Night Football at home against the Colts. So I like to kind of peg where we might see a rookie debut. And looking at the 49ers schedule, I think week 7 makes the most sense.
All right, so you're setting that over under at 6.5.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's an over-under. I would say it's like more of a wish or a guess, but we'll have some odds on that our first fantasy football podcast. But yeah, I think that's the most likely outcome.
I mean, it's funny because Garoppolo as a Niners starter is 24-8. So no, sorry, 22-8. So we could have a situation kind of like Fitzpatrick, where if he's there and like he could be winning, and the organization is just like, screw it, we're benching you. So it's going to be an interesting situation.
All right, guys, awesome show. That is going to do it for our early look at the Week 1 lines, and kind of wrapping up here of the NFL schedule release for 2021. Good stuff here from Simon Hunter, Sean Corner, Chris Raybon. I am Matthew Friedman. Be sure to check out all of the NFL content that we have at the Action Network, and we will be releasing much, much more as we inch ever closer towards the 2021 season. Have a good night.